Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join me in the wild landscape of Scotland. And once again for this one, we're joined by the channel DJ. I just got out of the car to do this intro because we've managed to pick up these cans of Red Bull from a shop in Kirriemuir, and I just thought it's random as anything. They're fully written in Thailand, or Thai language, and it says on it like pharmaceutical industries and stuff, which is mad. But the boy in the shop tells us it is just Red Bull. Tastes slightly different, but it's a type of Red Bull. So yeah, that's crazy folks, eh? On this video, we're actually away to document an abandoned castle which lies within this crazy wild landscape, and I think it's called Vayne Castle. So today I've parked at the little crossroads here near the northern side area of Angus. Here he is, channel DJ, coming out of the car folks. But yeah, this is a standard can of Red Bull he's drinking, and just check out the difference with this other stuff we picked up. If anybody is from Thailand or have seen this before, get in the comments and tell us what it is or what you think about it. I'm just hoping I didn't have like a heart attack or something when I was jumping over these fences to get to the ancient wonder. But it's a bit of fun, something different folks. Let's get into this adventure. Here we go folks, I'm going to do a taste test on the video right here.
Smell it first.
Yeah, smell test first. What does it look like?
Well, red or...
Ah, it just looks like...
Yeah.
Yeah, it just smells like Red Bull.
Yeah.
Better not be alcoholic here folks. Oh. Yeah. It tastes like flat Red Bull almost, like... Yeah, the taste is interesting and different. For sure, it's like not a bad taste, it's quite an interesting taste. Wow. Check it out folks, we've come off the main road which is kind of up here behind us, and look at this boggy terrain which we've been greeted with. I believe we need to kind of stay at this side of the main river, and we need to try and navigate this general direction up here. As you can see, everything's starting to grow in Scotland, and pretty soon these places will be unpassable. Also, once the weather starts to warm up, you get mad amount of ticks and stuff in this environment. Look how overgrown it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's mad to think there's castles hidden within these wild lands that tell a story of Scottish history from a time often before like even recorded history. Look at this is a nice little den area down here. I think we might have to try and go up there and along the top. Because look at it man, it's totally mental scenery. Look at that bridge, it's so high.
I know.
Often when you go over the main road in an area like this, you don't even realise you're going over such an incredible stone construction. Wow, look at this tree here, it's proper rotted out. Oh look, somebody's been climbing up here. I wonder if it was an animal or a human. Wow, this is so lethal. Here, we need to be careful. Because look, these sticks would just tumble if you stood on them or grabbed them. Wow, this is dangerous. Look how slippy it is.
There's water fucking below us. You've come the wrong way, bro.
Check this out folks, there's a bit of honeycomb here on the forest floor. Wow, a bit of a hive, bit of either a wasp hive or a beehive. I'm hearing a cockerel down here, going mental.
Mind the one we saw sitting on the fence?
Oh aye.
I'll be that.
Wow, it's crazy what you find. That must have come from up here.
Yeah.
So here we are folks, we're making our way along the side of this field which looks like it's been freshly sown with the seed of this year's crops. And I believe I'm seeing a ruin over here which must be the ruin of Vayne Castle. It looks massive. I was thinking it was just going to be some rubble or light remains of stones. Look at that folks, second random find of the day. Golf ball in the field here, in the middle of nowhere pretty much. Maybe at one time the farmer was down here cracking the golf balls around. Here we are, folks, we've made it to this ancient historical wonder of Vayne Castle. And I've got a little bit of history to read about this place once we get there. But an interesting thing, there's a farm nearby here. And wow, look at this cliff we're at the top of. But the farm nearby here actually, back when it was built, used the stones from this castle. They used the castle as a bit of a quarry, so they had the right amount of stones to build their brand new farm and massive house of that era. Whereas now, even that house itself is an ancient bit of history. Wow, this castle's so much more massive and grand than what I was expecting. And shout out AKR channel historian for this one. He said like where it was and how to get to it, and it's such a cool place to find. And I love recording places like this that we've never seen before on the channel. So here we go, folks. I've got a little bit written here about the Vayne Castle. The ruin of a 16th century Z-plan castle with one round and one square tower. A stair turret is inserted to the re-entrant angle of the northeast tower with the east side of the main block. The castle, now ruinous, having been used as a quarry for the building of the farmhouse, was built by the Lindsays, who acquired the barony of Vayne or Fern in the early part of the 15th century. Vayne Castle is now ruinous, the western part in particular being in very poor condition. The walls, 1.5 metres thick, of the eastern part are almost entire, and it was visited by Ordnance Survey the 9th of July 1958. So let's go today and see what remains. This is a real genuine ancient defensive castle of Scotland here, and just think about the old clan wars and the old clan battles which may have taken place here. And it's incredible to think of it with a square tower and the big round tower, and it's actually got some original defensive details and architectural details that tell a story of its history. Here, look, there's wee rectangular cutouts there. Oh, is it like an oval? Wow, there is a little bit of wind here today, folks, and I do apologise for that in the audio, but it's crazy bringing these adventures to you all conditions. Just look at this. It's similar to what we see on more modern defensive like pillboxes and places. Yeah, it's what they used to do with the sandstone, so the archers could fire out of there. Or it could have even been like muskets and stuff at a certain time. But it was difficult to like shoot into there, but easy to fire out. And this is obviously the round tower. Wow. Look, there's another rectangular defensive part there. And you can see it's made from the natural sandstone which the ground's made out of in this area. It's a massive construction, eh? Look at the way that's been carved out. Wow. Real history once again on the channel, folks. And it's special to see. Look at that, the way there's a groove and stuff carved up the middle. And it's not all just about the adventure either on this channel. It's about documenting the history, seeing it at a certain stage, so if it falls down or becomes damaged, you get an idea of the history that was standing here in like 2023. Look, this has been a spiral staircase here. You see where the stones have led up and round. And look at the arched stone. And then look, there's an underground section there. We'll have to go in there, a wee tunnel going under the ground. And it looks like there's been stairs going up inside that tower as well. And then there's a massive lintel stone up with the stones built. Wow, folks, my mind is blown by the history right here. Channel DJ's gone round to the underground section. Look at it there, the massive openings, which must have been on a landing there to go to the upstairs section. Yeah, this castle walls are just massive, and I can see there's like stones built in a curve there, so it's almost like there's been some kind of detail there, like to strengthen the wall. Maybe internally it's more narrow at that point. And look at the erosion here, because it's sedimentary stone, it all erodes like that, and you can see the layers. Wow, look at the size of this wall, folks. The shape of it, and the fact there's not even a window here. It's only these defensive strategic firing holes. And you can just imagine that the arrows rattling out of there. Maybe the longbow firing from the tower. Wow, check this out here, folks. Look at that. There's a big opening. See that bit you're standing on? It looks super fragile, like.
Just climb some steps to get here.
Wow. This is crazy right here, folks. These walls tell a story of history that we've never seen before on the channel. And places like this are just hardly seen. Look at the way the stones is built here, and you can see it's been more of a rectangle at the top. The stonework actually steps out separate to the cylindrical shape, the cylinder shape of the tower. Wow, this is mad, folks. Another interesting thing, look, there's rough stone construction here, like there's been a wall, whereas it's actually smooth. And I think originally the corners have been rounded like that, whereas a lot of castles have got like 90-degree edges. This one's all been properly finished and shaped. And it's been a grand castle in its day. And look, you can imagine how much of this is probably built up around it over the years, like debris and vegetation. Because you can see this was probably like head height or more originally. Wow, it's just mad to think of the clan battles, wars and stuff that may have even gone on in a place like this. Yeah, there's like a round tower with like a wee entrance there. Yes, we're now entering the castle, folks, out of this wind. Yeah, see what I think? All this is obviously built up so high, because you can see the shape here of the stone. It curves around. And I believe this lower level here probably had the arched roofs. And look, you can see the shape of it here. It's similar to the arches that I saw when I was at Vayne Castle a few weeks ago. And then look at these, it's not been windows, it's been like little cupboards or whatever. Look at this one, this has been a little fireplace, I believe. The sun's at a poor angle for this with the shadow there, unfortunately, today. Imagine the wee fire there crackling away. Sometimes bits like that were cut out because there would have been a safe.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of within the wall or within the structure. Maybe a little bag of gold, a little pouch of gold.
There's been a wall there actually.
Yeah, I believe it's been carved, and that wall would be the centrepiece of the two curves. But you have to imagine it would have been so much deeper. You would have been looking way up at those curves. Wow, look at this, folks, right here. Is this the way you went? Yeah. Right, folks, let's head into this ancient castle. Look at the way this lintel stone's in here for the strength, but also the arch, the stones above these places to take the load off the lintel. And I've seen that with a lot of old castle construction. Interesting architecture like that. You see it at various places like here. They almost make a bridge, so all the weight is through the main side stones. Wow, look at this. It's been like a lower down defensive little strategic point here in the corner. Wow, look at this. This was where I was looking in. Wow. And like I theorised, this was probably deep enough at a certain time.
You could stand up in it and that would have been head height.
Wow. See, when you were walking down there, stour was falling off the top of there, landing on my head. Look at that.
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't even be trusting walking on some of them, like. But we're going to have to go up and take in the footage. Look how they've been carved. Again, originally, all these stones would have had a centre.
Yeah.
Look at the way it leads up around like a spiral stair. The further up you go, the lookouts are bigger and less defensive.
It's like
yeah, look at the way the stones are shaped at the top. See, on the outside, I was theorising that it was a square tower up here, and it's right enough, like a square top, even though the stones is round. And then look at this bit here, folks. Wow, look at the size of this. And it shows, look, the ground's built up outside there, whereas it's defensive. Again, it's been looking outside at one time. And kind of crazy thing, this looks a lot like some of the bunkers we go to. Like the World War II stuff. Defence of a building's still not changed. And this is similar to what we saw at Vayne Castle, folks, but this one's so much more complete. Imagine what may have gone on in here at a certain time, or imagine the conversations that may have been had. Imagine the noise in here as they were under attack. These places were often the scene of terror and war, and often over loads of different courses of history and time, these places have been reused and retaken over by different clans or different leaders in the area. And look at this one. See, the ground's built up so much outside, look. It's had a defensive hole there. Wow.
One on this side as well, eh?
Yeah. So it shows that the ground outside the castle's built up probably like 2 metres or more at least. I would say more. Castles like this date back so long ago that the ground around them just rises and rises every time the vegetation dies. Wow, that old stonework, eh? So cool seeing a place like this. And like last week we had no idea we were going to see something this cool. Like I always think like I've seen most of the history in the area and then it just keeps blowing my mind. There's always so much to still be found, to be explored. And just think when these ancient stones were put in, think what the people were wearing, what they may have been talking about. Think about the politics of the country back at that time, and like, it's just so long ago. Anyway, let's take a look up at the next little section. This gives you an idea of the depth. When you see the door here, you can imagine that. It's been so much deeper. It makes sense that those lookouts are way down at that height. Even this stone here, though, look, it's carved out. It would be so interesting to excavate somewhere like this and dig down, find the original stone slab floor. Yeah, they're just massive big chunks of stone, but they're all properly carved. This castle here has been so well built compared to some of the structures that we visit. And it's the first time I've really been, well, in a proper, decent defensive castle. Look, I've got those stupid things stuck on my laces. It's like things off the plants. Seeds off the plants. Yeah, look at this, folks. I have to be super careful on these stones. I'm staying right in to the strongest edge of them. Yes, we've made it, folks. We're up on the history right here. This is so cool. Wow, look at that there. That's one of the old edge pieces for the roof, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll put my torch off now that we're out of there. Yeah, look, we're up on the second story. Imagine that when it was so much deeper out there. And that's another one of those defensive lookout holes. Wow, you can see the erosion, how much bigger it's gotten from the other holes that we saw. Originally it would have been a smaller hole. And the weathering and stuff is just incredible. And then look at the way this is built. Look. Those stones just hanging on.
Yeah.
And you can see the old mark from the roof there into the stone leads up at that angle. Wow, imagine the big fire blazing down there. See, the old lintel stone and stuff's missing, so I believe the fire hearth must have been at this height. See where it's been sitting?
Yeah.
So you imagine the height of the ground here, how it's changed. That top slab must have been the height of the floor. Wow, folks, look at this. We're standing in the chimney of an ancient castle. See, sometimes with the old castles, they used to have somebody that would go up the chimney to clean it, and they would literally put their feet like that against the edge of the chimney and they would work their way up. Sometimes it was kids and stuff that got that job years ago. Because I remember learning about that in an old castle that I was visiting once.
This has obviously been one of the grand rooms. You know how on the second floor of castles you've got really high ceilings and that?
Yeah.
This must be this room.
No, unless though there was another story above this one, eh? But this has been a high ceiling.
It came right up there and then there was another story.
Yeah.
Maybe another one.
It's been a grand castle, and back when this was built, it must have been a flex. Bringing somebody to the castle. Imagine the meals that may have been eaten on a table in here, like the big boar sitting with the apple in its mouth in the middle of the plate, like. It's just special to imagine that. Let's have a look over here. Imagine who may have at one time stood looking out of this window, and look, it's had metal bars on it. The wind's blowing strongly in this corner of the castle. Wow, it's cool to record those wee bits of history though, and imagine the metal bars. A lot of that stuff must have been hauled out and scrapped at a certain time. And then look, you can see the thickness of the walls. It said 1.5 metres thick, but I believe these ones are maybe just a metre. But I dare say there's thicker bits and thinner bits for sure, because see under here where it's arched, it must be so strong.
Yeah.
Because obviously the curve makes it so strong. Wow, folks, it would be so amazing to go up the tower to get a view from the top, but as you can see, there's just no like stairs or anything left. And then you can imagine these rooms. I think the lower levels were given the strength from the strong arches, and that does tie in with that Vayne Castle. This is actually really interesting because it's almost what you could imagine Vayne Castle may have looked like. The one we explored a few weeks ago, and I was so fascinated we found the underground sections. So there we go, folks. I was just getting a couple more photographs up here before we head back down. What a crazy place this has been. It's more than I could have ever dreamed of. And it's been a while since this is probably one of the coolest places I've been in a while, and we go to so many cool places, like, it's just mad when it's got such a good old story of history connected to it. It's a genuine Scottish defensive castle. It's no like some of those mansions and that were designed to look old and ancient like this. Just think about the folk that may have walked down here in a hurry to defend the castle when they hear of the incoming attack from the rebel clan of the Glen. And I believe, like, if the family's name is Lindsay that inherited this, that name does run through the old clan stories of Scotland and that. It was a famous one, involved with a lot of the battles between, like, the royalists and the rebels. And some interesting details. You can see the arches in the stone. And I was noticing there had been a small spiral staircase in that corner, but it must have just gone up one floor. So maybe to get from this tower to this one, they would have had to come down. But then right enough there was another room up there. See a detail I noticed from the outside? See there's an arch there as if there would have been another cutout. That goes right through the wall. So for some reason they've done that. See, I don't know if that's the safest way. It looks like there's an opening outside. See, it's hard to know what that had been. Oh, I had one of the plant things on my hand. It's like one of those, maybe being like a little cupboard. But see how this bird nest, it's like it's gone right to the top.
Look at that lintel.
See it, yeah. It's huge. But see an interesting thing, there's a row of holes below that hole, right? Which looks like it's just been above floor level and no more. So not unless it was something that was like hot air coming out of for like a fireplace. Yeah. Or maybe it was some sort of early ventilation. That's been a massive fireplace up there, and probably the main room in the castle, I would say.
And there's been a window there.
There's been some sort of massive opening there for sure. Yeah, you can see there's been a window with metal bars at that side. It's similar to what we saw like at Vayne Castle and stuff years ago. Whoa, I'm thinking we might be able to get through this way. It's all just trees and things we're walking on here. Look, half the lintel stone's missing out of this window. It's all just rotten trees here.
Careful, bro.
The realest of adventures on this channel. The places we go to document the history, folks, is unbelievable. Because it's all just rotten wood. Here, we need to be careful here because it's actually a broken lintel. So I wouldn't want to walk on it. Look there, folks. The lintel's actually fractured there, which means if you stood on it, it could just fall right down. That's been the entrance there into the round tower. It's so overgrown. I think it would be better to look in from the side. Yeah, because obviously when we come to these places, folks, we're coming with the respect of the owner of the land, and we're wanting to document these buildings without damaging them. So that's why we're always careful when we're climbing. It's okay like climbing on the rotten wood and stuff, but we didn't want to be knocking down any of the structure or damaging it at all. We're purely just recording the ancient scene here. Look at this, folks. It's like this bit here has been built at a different time, or maybe filled in. Wow, this is so cool to see. Yeah, I'm wanting to look in maybe that door there. See, there's been other buildings here potentially knocked down. We could have a look down at the river. Sometimes castles like that had an escape tunnel. A real deal escape tunnel, folks. Look at this, there's been a door blocked up here. So imagine the history related to that. Maybe this would have been the main entrance into the castle. Right, folks, Channel DJ has just seen the first tick of the season on his coat, and that means places like this are going to be too hard to get to in a couple of months.
Tick check.
Yeah, we literally just checked ourselves for ticks, but he had one on his coat, and that's how we noticed it. And it's like I say, ticks now in Scotland are crazy compared to like 3 or 4 years ago. It's totally different now. The ticks have taken over, and for most of the year, places like this you just can't get to. It's no worth the risk. Again, because they're just like mad, and I say it on my videos a lot, and I've been taking full advantage of being able to come at a place like this at this time of year. Yeah. The adventure's still real on this channel, folks, and I'll always be bringing abandoned places, but it's just the sort of places I can get to. Look at this, look at this stonework above my head though. Let's get back to this history. Look, a defensive hole right here, and that's maybe if somebody was trying to get in the window, they'd be like, "Oh, you Haim McLeod," and there would be like an arrow to the groin, or to the head I suppose, because the windows were higher. Yeah. And I believe there must be steps to this door, and then there's been a door, and that's probably the original entrance to the tower, to the actual castle. Because I think a lot of the other, I didn't see another thing that would have been like an outer door. The bit we came through, I believe, may have been like a window. Yeah, the lower stone's carved, eh?
Yeah. It's almost like that, look. There's been a doorway there.
Do you think so? I'll go and have a look round here again, folks. Yeah, the lower stone there.
They look exactly like this stone there.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that there, eh? That stone there's carved.
Yeah, and these.
Yeah, that's been a side cornerstone. Yeah, because on the inside I was theorising this looks like it's been built separate or changed. Yeah. Because here's the other side stone here, look.
There'll be a doorway bricked up.
Yeah, and they've used some of the original stones just to fill the gap. Yeah. So there has been 2 doorways there now we've figured out. That's the kind of thing we'll love to find, folks. History, and then when we look at it we just uncover the layers and paint a picture of the detail of what's left. Wow, it's magical. There's another one of those stones. Look, it's been a window stone or part of a door frame. And you can see how overgrown that is. See, these stones here have been part of something else because they've got these cutouts. Look, there's a hole leading into the wall there. It looks original. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, obviously the tower's here. Oh, look, there's a cool as anything stone detail. This tower here looks like it's had an arched roof. It's so hard to even see that. I think even though it's been a round tower, it's had an arched roof, because look at that stonework at the far side there, folks.
Oh, holy shit.
It's been perfect smooth sandstone, like carving round. And it's probably had another story on top of it at that height. So you can imagine how grand this was built. Obviously there's so much debris in here, you get an idea of how grand and high that roof probably originally was. Just think of the door and stuff that was in here. Like, there's a hole going into the wall there. And the detail of the carving. It's almost like unbelievable, like what we're seeing. Oh, I didn't even notice under the window, another firing slot. So if somebody was trying to climb up and get to any of the windows, they'd be getting peppered with arrows. Maybe even a long sword coming out of there. A great sword. Right, folks, we've just noticed literally like another 3 ticks or more. So we're getting out of here. The adventure was worth coming to see for sure, but it's no worth getting covered in ticks. We love seeing history like this though, for sure, and it's been such a cool adventure. But this year, probably since like January, that's the first time I've seen the ticks coming out, and it's because it's getting milder now, and it's getting to that time of year. But like, literally like 5 years ago or something in Scotland, that wasn't the case. Like, we could have walked here all year round and never even have seen one tick. Whereas now, there's a proper like tick epidemic here in Scotland, and I believe it's not only just from it getting warmer here in the winters, it's also caused by the fact they're not using any pesticides or stuff in the fields anymore. Those things, those pesky little beasts are getting a chance to thrive, and that's what they'll do, they'll take over. People can catch a lot of nasty things from them, and they're never good. Horrible creatures, folks. And it ruins the fun of an abandoned adventure like this. But that just shows the sort of wild habitats that these castles and stuff are hidden in. It's mad, like, think about all the summers and winters that this place has stood here, battered by storms. You can imagine how it may have looked before they took the stone for the nearby farmhouse. It must have just been so grand and massive and so cool. Anyway, let's continue this adventure out, folks. We're going to try and not get any ticks on us once again. Check this out, folks. At the corner of the field here for crossing the wall, it's got these little stones. It's like a little stile. Makes it easier, maybe originally for the people walking to the castle back in the day. Maybe this was an old way that they came. But we're just literally sticking the perimeter of the field here. So yeah, I'll update you once we get back to the main road, folks. I just thought that was a cool little detail in the landscape. Right, folks, that's us back at the main road where we started this adventure. My car's just parked up at that wee triangle at the northern side turn off here. And it's kind of like, what would it be, Kirriemuir to Brechin on the Cariston Road. But what a fun adventure it was. It was cut a little bit short by finding those ticks, because we didn't want to go the route down to the river like we were going to. So yeah, but seeing that history and imagining the ancient history with the clans or the people that built the castle, and then how it was defended over the years and probably taken over by other clans and destroyed, and then the later history where the stones were taken from it and the nearby farmhouse was built from those stones, and then that is actually part of the history as well. That farmhouse is probably like 200-year-old or whatever, okay? So it's ancient in its own right. And that gives you an idea of how old the castle is when you think of it in that sense. But yeah, it was cool to bring another abandoned castle hidden in the wild landscape of Scotland, folks. And there's so many of them out there. Today it was Vayne Castle. 16th century they said, was it no? Yeah. On the article. But anyway, we're just about back at the car, so I'm going to end this one here. Goodbye for me, goodbye for the channel DJ, and we'll catch you very soon for the next adventure.